Now we're going to take a look at the scarf hold position. All right, first thing I want to do is I want to be on my hip here, and I want to get good coverage over under this shoulder. I don't want him to have this shoulder on the floor, and I also don't want him to have this elbow on the floor. I want to keep this elbow away from his body. So I'm going to make sure that I have my hand gripped this way underneath his tricep, and I'm going to lock his forearm and wrist against my body here. This foot's planted flat here. This leg is underneath his shoulder. Now, for a good position, I'm going to grab the inside of my thigh here, and also I'm going to push my shoulder into my wrist to keep it nice and tight, keep his head nice and tight. I don't want his head to be on the floor neither. If his head's on the floor, he's going to be able to bridge, and he can get a good bridge and possibly roll me off. So I want to keep his head off the floor, and the way I do that is by pushing my wrist into my shoulder. So I'm here, controlling the arm at the tricep, this way, controlling this. Here, this leg is up and out. I'm in a good position here. Inside of my thigh, pushing this down, his head's off the floor. Now I don't want to be leaning back like this because again he can bridge and roll me over. I'm leaning forward on him here, just like this. Here's going to be my scarf hold. Now from here I can have some different options, different positions to go to. From here I can go to a modified scarf hold by just pushing his head here and bringing my elbow inside his armpit. Put my hand on the floor, again keeping this arm up. And I have a modified scarf hold. But basically, the position I want to be concerned with now is just going to be a regular scarf hold, and that's with the arm around his head, grabbing the inside of my thigh, keeping all these points in his shoulder and his head off the floor, keeping my base nice and wide, controlling his arm. Don't want him to get his arm inside here. Never allow that to happen. Being just like this, nice and tight, leaning into his head. Here's my scarf hold, guys. Alright, now we're going to go to the modified scarf hold. From this position, I want to have my knee, my thigh underneath his shoulder. That keeps him tight. Here, I want to have the underhook on this side. And the most important part about keeping this position, in my opinion, is making sure I have good control of this arm. I can't allow him to get this arm in here. If he gets his arm in close to his body, he can get space to push away. Now, when I'm in this position, there's couple different ways I can hold it. The two most important ways you can hold it here is with pressure and without pressure. Now, the way I'm going to do it with the pressure is I'm going to take my body off the floor and I'm going to lean into the chest. It's very painful, so be careful with your partners when you're practicing this. I'm just going to be on this foot and this foot here, and I'm going to lean into his body. Now, right now I have primarily all my weight on a little bit on his chest and on a little bit on my elbow. But when I take my elbow off the floor, I'm here. The only thing that's on the floor now are my feet. Nothing else is on the floor. That means all my weight is pinpointed on his chest. So I'm here, this way. Not leaning over, I'm just pinpointing on his chest. Only thing touching the floor is my foot and my foot. My hips are off the floor, as you can see. Still controlling his arm. You hear him? There's a lot of pressure on his chest here. Now, the other position I can go to from the modified scarf hold will be if I'm sitting on the floor now. Because I have my hips off the floor, that may leave him a little bit of space if he's crafty enough and get his hips out to replace his guard. So I can also just use the position having my hips against his body. This eliminates any space he can use to replace his guard. So, and from here, I'm just holding on to the shoulder, holding on here, and have my position, this knee underneath his head. So I'm here, locking him down here, this way. Now from this position here, a good position to go to is your regular side mount. From here, I'm going to lift the arm up, because I always want to have control of this arm. Always, 100% of the time, have control of this arm. I'm going to lift it up. I'm going to turn my base over, get control of this arm again, come underneath his head, here, all the way through to get my elbow inside my thigh, square up my hips, and go to my side mount position. If I come back, control the arm, come back underneath, Controlling the arm here. Now I'm in my modified scarf hold position. There's your basic modified scarf hold. Now we're going to talk about the side mount positions, also known as side control. Alright, the most important parts about this position here, in my opinion, is going to be the underhook. If I don't have the underhook here and I'm just kind of like this is bad positioning. So I want to make sure I have this underhook here, and I want this arm on top here, and I'm just going to pull my elbows in here, keeping them nice and tight to me. Now when I have this in, this wrist goes towards that shoulder to pressure on his face to keep him from looking away. Here. Now when I have that, I want my body to make an L with his body. And the way I'm going to establish that position is I'm going to have this knee right up next to his hip and this knee right up next to his head. Alright, so I have to spread my legs out so that I'm here. One knee by the hip, one knee by the head. And to get extra pressure, this arm's going to come on the inside of my thigh so that I can use my leg to help put extra pressure on his face here. So I have knee, this on the inside, and again this underhook here. Now I'm just going to pinch my elbows into my body, and he's just going to get sandwiched in between. Here. Here's going to be my basic side mount position. Now some options that I can work to from here. This is very good for control, but it's not a lot of submissions that I'm going to do from here. So when I want to go for submission, some options I want to do is I want to lift up, come on the side of his head, here. Now I have his head off the floor, pinched in between my thigh and my elbow, or my tricep and my thigh right here. Now I can go to work on this arm, do arm locks, do whatever I need to from here. So this is what I'm going to go to when I want to work submissions. Also what I can do from here is go put this arm on this side. I'm going to bring my elbow through here and come close to his near hip. Here is what I'm going to use to when I go start to transition. And a good transition from this position is going to just be to walk around the north-south. I can straighten my legs. When you straighten your legs, that's going to put weight on his chest. And that's what I want to do, is keep the weight on his chest. I don't want to leave him room and space to get out. So when I have here, I want everything to be tight, this here, and when I straighten my legs, all my weight goes on his chest. And I just walk around to the north-south position here. I can leave my legs spread out, or I can come deep. But it all starts from having that control position from the side, and that's going to be here. Shoulder pressure, elbows pinched, one knee by the hip, other knee by the head, and pressure down. Basic side mount position. Now I have my basic north-south position. It's called north-south because I'm faced one way, he's faced the other way. Now from this position, there's a lot of different variations, a lot of different ways to do it. I'm just going to talk about some of your basic points on how to establish and maintain a very tight north-south position. One thing that key for me, one thing that you don't want to do is have both arms this way, underneath his arms here. I don't want to have it like this. You have to have either both of them over here or one of them over here. But I can't have both underneath his arms because it's going to be very easy for him to escape. I want to have control over him. So I'm going to start off, I can have both here or both under. Now, in order for me to be really tight, I'd like to have his head off the floor here. This makes it very difficult for him to get out. And from here, I can start to work a lot of different things. I can start to work chokes. Come in here, start to choke. I can start to work arm locks this way. A lot of different things I can do from here. Also, you know, when you talk about coming from position to position and going to transitions, I can work from here. I can if I have his hands broke behind, I just break his hands, put my hands on his stomach, and just jump over him in one sweep, and go to a reverse mount from here. And from here, I can start to work on his legs, or I can transition to another position from here. But it's all going to start back from that north-south position. So I'm going to start here. I have my north-south position here, head controlled. I have one arm here, or both here. Nice control, head down this way. And here's going to be my north-south position. Alright guys, here's my reverse mount position. I'm going to use this position when I'm in north-south, nothing's really happening, and he's giving me his legs, like he's got his legs posted up here. This is a good time to go to this position because from here I don't really have a ton of control, but it's good to transition into other things, and it's good to start to work on different parts. Like nobody's ever going to expect you to go to their legs from a north-south position. So when he got his legs up like this, I can go to this position. Now I'm sitting, I'm facing him here, got my knees together, controlling his hips, keeping him from pivoting and swiveling his hips out, and I have options to his legs. If he's got his leg up here, I can start here, I can just roll off to the side, put this one inside, go to a knee bar, or I can just be in this position here, and I can just pivot off to the side and go to another position from this transition position. So this is kind of like a mediator transition position. So I can start here, and I can just hop off to the side here, and now I have a reverse scarf hold on him. But I'm going to start from here, hopping up from the north-south. I can come here. Again, you got the knee bars. I can go to toe holds here. Different things to do from here, but here's my basic position. Got my knees together here, facing this direction. Reverse mount position. Now I'm going to work from the reverse scarf hold. I have a reverse scarf hold here. This arm here can be interchangeable. I can have it pinned up against his head here, or sometimes I can actually be underneath his armpit here. So it doesn't really matter, but the key for me is the positioning of this technique. All right, if I can get my partner to put his legs down just a second. What I want to do with this leg here is I'm going to put it right up against his hip. I like to have it up against the hip so I can feel what he's going to do. If I just have it on the floor, I can be kind of lazy and I can't really feel him. So I'm just going to pin it up against his hip here. I can feel what he's going to do. I have my hips up close to his head, and this foot is planted back here for balance. Now my upper body is bent over in an acute angle. I don't want to be backward this way. I want to lean forward here to keep him from rolling me backwards this way. So I'm leaning forward here. This arm is here. And now what I do with this, why this position is important, is because I'm covering his face. You gotta put your legs up a second now because nobody would sit here like this. But I'm gonna be in this position here, and I want to cover his face so he can't see what's going on with me down here. Now, when I have this position here, I'm probably gonna go to a mounted position. If I have this one here, I can start to work on the arms. I can go to arm lock, this. I can do a lot of different things from here. But if I have this here, I'm probably gonna want to go to a mounted position. Even if he's blocking, that's okay. I'm just starting off here, got my balance, got this knee up against his hip, my legs are spread, I have a nice wide base. From here, go to a mounted position, I'll just tap and push the legs and go right to a mounted position from here. But I'm going to start from here. In my reverse scarf hold position, legs based out wide, knee up against his hip, control him so he can't block, so he can't see. I'm blocking his vision here. I can see everything. All right, there's your reverse scarf hold position. All right, now I'm in the mounted position. Coming from the reverse scarf hold, there's a couple different ways I can take the mounted position. If I'm starting here and he's got his legs up this way, I can just pass it over the top. If he's even deeper, I can come through, grab my foot, slide it in, and come to the mount this way. But when I establish the mount position here, I more often than not would like to go to a grapevine. And having grapevines just means I'm hooking onto his legs here, hooking onto his shins with my feet, driving my hips into him, keep my arms nice and wide. So if he tries to bridge out, I keep his hips down nice and low, and I'm anchoring on to his legs. I can also have head control here, and switch arms, having head control here. And then, but this is just controlling the position. When I want to work for stuff, I have to sacrifice some of that control position. Start to scoop my legs up. I can work here, and this is kind of a lower mounted position, or I can work from a higher mounted position here and go to all kinds of different things. I can key lock, I can arm lock, I can change my whole base and come here in this position here. A lot of different things I can work from here, but your basics is just going to be working from this mounted position, just starting either with the grapevines. I can cross my feet. If you want to see, I can just cross my feet here and anchor him onto his butt, keep him from bridging and rolling me off the top of him, or just being here or even here. The basic mounted position, probably one of the most dominant positions in any arena you're going to fight in. MMA, submission, grappling, BJJ, whatever you do, this is the dominant position. This is why you get 4 points, and this is why you end fights when you throw punches from here. Your mounted position. Alright, this position is called a gift wrap. From here, this is a strong position. If you get this position on somebody, it's almost a guarantee that you're going to finish them in one way or another. It's a lot of different things you can do from here. From here, you can come underneath, choke here this way. You come underneath arm lock, or you can just sit them back. Go to the back mount position. But the essence of the position is going to be when I get here, to have control of his wrist and his elbow here, using either my hand or my chest. Now, when I start from here, I'm in my mounted position, I push it up and come across, grab here, and I come here. Now with this leg here, I don't like to leave my foot down this way because that gives him the access to go to either a half guard or quarter guard here. So I like to tuck it here, this way underneath his armpit. This limits the access that he can have to escape. Now sometimes when I get in this position, he may be able to escape here by pushing off this way and trying to turn back into me. When this happens, immediately I'm going to go to knee to stomach here. A nice smooth transition from the gift wrap here. He's turning in, just swivel my leg out and finalize in the stomach. But from gift wrap, if you can get the gift wrap on somebody, it's almost guaranteed that you're going to have a good percentage of finishes. Grabbing the wrist, controlling it, pulling it up, controlling the elbow. This knee is up by his head, this foot close to his armpit. And again, a lot of different options from here. From MMA, this is a horrible position. You can elbow. You do a lot of different things, submissions galore from whatever you want to do from this position. But this is called a gift wrap. Okay, now here's my basic knee to stomach position. When I'm starting off in this knee to stomach position, when he gets out, I have to make a smooth transition so he doesn't push my leg back. So when I start off here, if he's coming through, if he's trying to get out, I want to pivot my leg out, swing my leg around, and put this part of my foot up against his hip, right up against his waist here. This other foot is going to be strong on my foot. I don't want it lazy dangling here. I want it strong, and I want it wide enough so he can't grab it. I see a lot of people, they have it lazy or they keep it close to the head. The guy just grabs their leg. I don't want to do that. I want to have it away from his head, but in line with his head. I don't want it too far back here. I want it in line with his head. So when I have a knee to stomach position and I have this foot up against his hip and this shin right across his waistline, I need my foot right in line with his head. Now from here, I have control here, and the closer I am to him, if I'm sitting on my heel, I have good control over him because I'm closer. I can feel what he's doing. If I raise up, it puts a lot of weight on him, makes it uncomfortable for him. Another way to have knee to stomach, another variation, is to change my angle. If I don't have this foot up against his head, I can actually put it back a little bit to change the angle, and I'm going to turn my knee into his sternum here. And I still have control here, but if I raise up, it's going to be a lot of pressure on the chest. I don't even want to do it now on my partner here because it could hurt him. But when I'm here across this way, a lot of good control here. I can work for submissions, arm locks, different things from here. If I were to change my angle, put this knee on his sternum here and raise up, it's going to be a lot of pressure on his chest. Now, when you raise up and change the angle, what that does sometimes, it can, if he times it right, it can give him the opportunity to escape. And he can push the leg back, get his hips out, and scurvy out. So let's say he does that, pushes his hips out, scurvies out, I'm going to sprawl on him right here. But I want to avoid all that by having a good solid knee to stomach. And that's going to be here, or even if I do change my angle, I have to keep it nice and tight. And I can alternate between putting the pressure on him, but just make sure he doesn't try to get out. But this is going to be my knee to stomach position. Okay, here's my sprawl position. He escaped my knee to stomach, got out. You know, I got a little lazy, got a little sloppy. He got out. Then he went up, got out, tried to get my leg. So now I had to sprawl on him. When I have a sprawl position here, the sprawl is basically, I want to keep his hands off of my legs when I have a sprawl. I don't want to have my knees up like this and be sprawled. That's why it's called a sprawl. I'm going to sprawl my legs back as far as they'll go. I'm all the way back here. Another thing with the sprawl is I don't want both arms here because then he's going to be able to peek out and do different things. I want one under or one over his shoulder and one under. So if I'm here this way or the other angle, if I have this one over his shoulder, then this one will be here, this way. And initially I want to keep all my weight on him. I can be nothing on the floor actually, just be here and all my weight on him here. Or I can put the insteps of my feet on the floor. Here. This way. This way if he runs me through, I just keep sliding back. Because sometimes if you're on your toes and he runs through, he can pick you up. So I'm going to slide back. So I'm here in this position here. And having a good sprawl sets you up for a lot of different things. From a sprawl, it sets you up for, you know, you can set up for guillotines, Darce chokes, anacondas, a lot of different things just start from the sprawl position. Just being here, keeping my weight on him, keeping his head down. Also, I can spin around to take turtle control because essentially he's in the turtle position. So when I want to go to a turtle control, I have to block off this whole side, everything on this side. So if I'm here and I just try to run around, he's going to reach and grab my leg. I can't let that happen, so I have to block that side off. So when I'm here this way, I'm going to take this hand, block that side. He can't raise his arm. So if I'm here, block that side, come around. Now I'm here. Get my leg inside, come here. Turtle control position. But it's going to start from the sprawl. And my sprawl here, I got a lot of different options to finish, or I can spin around. But this is going to be my sprawl position, right over his back. All right, here's my turtle control position. It's almost similar to knee to stomach in the sense that I have this foot up by his head and this other knee in and tight around by his waist. I want this foot flat again. I'm not lazy like this. I don't have this foot close to his head just yet. I have it out for pressure so I can drive into his back here, this way. And I have this hand over his shoulder and this one under his armpit, and I'm just, if you can see it, I'm just hugging here like this. I don't want to lean too far over, and I also don't want to give him this elbow. If I give him this elbow here, he can roll me that way. So I want to keep my arms in like this here and have the pressure here. Now from here, from an MMA standpoint, I can punch here, or just from whatever I want to do, I can be here. I can even start to choke. I can choke him from here. But essentially what I want to do is I want to try to establish an even better position. I want to try to take his back. So from here, I'm going to change my legs. So I'm going to just turn a little bit so you guys can see. From here, I can use this hand. I can take this out and come here, because now he won't be able to block me from getting this leg in. I want to try to get my near hook in first. So from here, I can put this underneath, raise up a little bit. That leaves me some space. And I'm going to get this hook in. I'm just going to jump right into it. So I'm here, get this hook in. Next, this is already in a good position. I'm going to get this other hook in to here. Now from here, I'm just going to flatten him out. And that's just going to drive forward, push my hips forward, and kick his legs back. To here. His feet are in the air. My hips are on his back. And from here, I can choke him. I can elbow and punch him. Do whatever I want to. But starting from here, my turtle position is the important thing here, and that's to have the knee across his waistline. Here, this foot is strong on the outside, and I'm here, hugging on this side of his back. I don't want to be too far over. I don't want to give him my far arm. I want everything tight here, and again, you can choke. Here, you can cross face. You can do a lot of different things from here, but essentially I want to try to get to the back position. But starts from the turtle control, guys. Turtle control. All right, here's my back mount position. With this position, this is probably, okay, I said the mount position may have been the most dominant position, but this is the most dominant position because I have him face down in the back mount position, feet in the air, and the reason why I have that is because I have my hooks in. I got my hooks in, I flattened them out. Now, from this position, in order for me to keep him down and stabilized, I have to push my hips into his back. I'm just going to drive my hips into his back and kick my feet up. Now look what happens to his legs. His legs come up in the air, if you can see that. His legs are coming up into the air. Very hard for him to get out. And from here, I can make him I'm not even going to say the word, but that's what I can make him. But from here, I can punch, I can elbow, I can make an omelet out of his skull. It's a lot of different things I can do from here. But primarily what I want to do is I want to choke him. Come underneath, get the rear naked choke. Now, if this doesn't happen, let's say, he's squirming out, getting his knees back in, gets his knees back inside. I still want to maintain the hooks, and as he rolls over or so, I want to make sure that I maintain my position on his back here and get the side position. But initially, when I'm on top, here's my position. This is the position I want. I got to be in this position here. Hips in. Legs up. From here, I got two free arms to do what I want and maintain my belly down, rear mount position. Okay, I'm starting off. I have the back mount position here. The key for me in this position is that my head is over top of his head. If he has his head, if I get lazy and get up here, it's hard to choke above me. So I want to make sure I keep my head right above his head here in order to maintain this position. I also want the arm closest to the floor around his neck. And my feet, right now, there's a couple different options I can have my feet. I can just have my regular hooks here. But if I'm on my side, if we're on our side, the best position for me is going to have a body triangle. And to do that, I'm just going to put my foot on his hip just to help propel this other foot to come up. I'll grab it, put it across his waist, lock my legs here, and I can choke here. A couple different things from this position. But this is a very difficult position to get out of. And I don't want to have a body triangle on this side because then you trap your own leg and he can actually foot lock you here. So I want to have my body triangle to the top side. So I'll put my foot here, grab my own leg, triangle it here. Now, sometimes in this position, in order for him to get out, he's probably going to want to rock back on top of me here and get his head over mine. When he does this, he's going to take my legs, get the hooks out, put them behind his legs, kick them out, put my hooks back in. Now we're seated. Now I have my head back above his. Now we're in a seated position here. Now from here, a lot of different things I can do here. I can go back to the choke. I can arm lock. I can go back to the body triangle. But I just want to make sure I maintain this position. Once he gets his arms in here, he may start to work his way out and put me in my half guard. I don't really want to have this position, but you know, if he gets out, this is the next best position to be in. Once he gets out, go right to my half guard here. But it's going to start from these positions here. Being on the side, here, body triangle, or if he rocks back, kick him up, get them hooks right back in. Control his legs with my hooks, right in this position here. Then I can go to the choke, work on his arms, just control her. Here's your rear mount position from the side and belly up. Okay, he escaped my side or my back mount position and he put me on my back. Well, he tried to put me on my back, but for me, it's going to be worse for you if you go to your back and you go flat here because now I'm in my half guard. From half guard, the important thing, the two most important things for half guard is the underhook here and being on your side with your hips out. If you're flat on your back like this is going to be dangerous for you, especially if he has his underhook. This is dangerous. This is a bad position. Make sure you get this underhook inside, and I want my hips out. So I'm on my side, I have the underhook, and my hips are out. I also can use this hand, my free hand, to control his bicep, control his hip, control the wrist. Now with my legs, I'm going to turn a little bit here. With my legs, I want to triangle them here, just like this. Just triangle my legs to trap his leg inside. There's a few different things I can do with my leg positioning. I can hook his leg here. As I'm on my side here, I can straighten them out. I can reverse my legs. Hook it here. Keep them tight here. But the important thing is that I'm off on my hip, I'm on my side, and I have this underhook. I'm also squeezing my knees, keeping his leg trapped. So from here, no matter how I am, I'm squeezing my knees, squeezing his thigh in between my legs. He's trapped. I can hook, but have this lock down here, here, and I'm on my side in my half guard. This is a proper half guard. And if you have a good position here, and you keep them off balance, you stay off on the side, and you stay small, very advantageous for you. So let's work on it. It's your half guard position. Okay, this is called a butterfly guard. The reason why it's called a butterfly guard is because of the shape that my legs make. And both my feet go inside his thighs here, my legs are out. Now in order to get to this position from half guard, I'm starting here. When I'm here, one thing I have to do is I have to create space to give me some room to get up. If I start here, yeah, some guys are flexible and they can just get it right in and create that space. You see how I just get my leg on the inside? I can do it from here if I'm flexible enough. I can just take my leg and put it inside here. But not a lot of people are that flexible. So in order to do this, if you're not that flexible, is you have to give yourself some room. So if you're in your half guard here, this way, you want to create a little bit of space. I'm just going to break that triangle with my legs, plant my foot on the floor, kick my hips out here. Then I'm going to take my leg, put it on the inside of his thigh, create a little bit more space, and sit up. Now when I'm in my butterfly guard, a couple of details that I need to ensure. My feet are on the inside of his thighs and my knees are open in the shape of a butterfly. If my knees are together here, he can just push my legs down and pass my guard. Also what I want to make sure is that my hips are back far enough. If I have the butterfly guard here and my hips are in close like this, there's nothing stopping him from driving me back, flat on my back, and then starting to pass. I'm going to have a lot better butterfly guard if my hips are back here and my back is pointed at him here if I'm working this way. So I'm in my butterfly guard here, my legs are open, I can post off here, have one foot on the floor, and work in different angles. So you can work in different variations of a butterfly guard. So I can be here working this way with the underhook posted out, or I can switch. As long as I have space in between our hips and my feet are on the inside of his thighs and my legs are open like a butterfly, I'm good. The only other thing that happens here is he may back out or start to work a little more. I plant my feet on his hips, boom, working my open guard. But it starts from the butterfly guard. Butterfly guard, hips are back. I'm here, I use my head to help keep pressure, my legs are open, and I have control of something. Or another position I can work from the butterfly guard in order to create different situations like sweeps and transitions is I can go to a double underhook position. Coming through here, this way, and I can rock back, I can lift him, and do a lot of different things from your butterfly guard. Alright guys, he was in my butterfly guard. As soon as he backs out, I can't maintain the hooks anymore. I'm going to put my feet on his hips. Now this is going to be my open guard. Now no matter how I slice it, my feet on the hips, I'm controlling the grips. This is my open guard. Now there's many different ways. If he comes up, I can play here and put my feet on his biceps. This would be a spider guard. If he steps forward one leg, then I can go what we call a De La Riva guard. And you know, there's many different guards. Everybody I know came up with their own guard. You got right guard that you're spreading your armpits, security guard, crossing guard, all kinds of different guards that you can use. But essentially, no matter what happens, if I got my feet on his hips and I'm controlling the grips, I'm in an open guard. No matter how you slice it, if he's backed up, I need to control his hips, his legs, his arms, and this is my open guard. As soon as he gets close to me, I close it into my closed guard. But as long as my feet are open and on the hips or anywhere else, I'm in my open guard. Alright, now I'm in my closed guard. Closed guard just means that my feet are locked here. When you have a closed guard, the important thing is not how tight you can squeeze a guy and straighten your legs, but it's having your feet crossed and tight at the ankles and tight at the feet. There's a lot of different ways to maintain this closed guard position. I just want to make sure I have control of his head. I'm going to always be on the inside of my arms, controlling his head, either controlling his biceps or his wrist, or even sometimes I can control his shoulder. And just having good control of the upper body is going to be important for me when I'm trying to work submissions. Now with my legs, there's a couple different ways I can work my legs. If my legs are around his waist, this is going to be a low guard. So my legs are around his waist. If I raise my legs up, like right now it's hard because he's got his arms here. If he brings his arms inside here, I can raise my legs up higher into a high closed guard. And that's with my feet, my legs right over his shoulders, and my feet closed right above his back, closer to his neck. So I'm just keeping it nice and tight here. Now, not to say that just because my ankles are tight that I want my legs to be weak. I still want all this to be tight, but I'm not trying to death squeeze them like and straighten my legs. I just want it to be nice and tight and stabilized to control him here. So I want to be tight here, kicking down on his back, feet are closed here. Everything's tight. This is going to be my high guard position. I'm still controlling his head and everything. If he breaks that posture, I'm in a low guard. Here, still controlling his head. And a couple of different variations. Even with the high guard, I can be here. I can control him here. As long as my legs are closed, I can do all kinds of different things with my arms. But essentially, as long as my feet are closed, I'm in my closed guard.